I woke up later than I have in 2 years today when I opened my eyes at 4:05 a.m. The street cats would be crawling in through the windows if I didn't hurry up and get down there and start feeding. I quickly got dressed, packed my cat bag, and fed the varsity insiders. I was a little late for the outside kitties, but they forgave me. They probably knew through their telepathic ability that I'd been experiencing the worst pain of my entire life the previous evening in the form of a toothache. I've had toothaches before, believe me. I've had teeth rot out of my mouth before. Does that gross you out? Well, it's a very common occurrence in the history of humankind. More than 90% of adults have experienced tooth decay. Like mental illness, it's more common than it is spoken about. I have a high threshold for pain, so high in fact that I once let an illegal dentist perform oral surgery on me without the use of an antiseptic on an infected tooth. The dentist was later arrested and sent to federal prison. He was arrested in Houston with his wife, who also acted as his assistant. I go into detail of this story in my book, Gonzo Education. Some of the information in my book actually helped to a conviction. You can look it up, but back to today. The cats were fed and accounted for, and I'm going to go see a legal dentist right now in a couple hours. Tried to enjoy the sour with the sweet, but I couldn't find anything good to take for my toothache. I suppose it helps me appreciate the times when I'm not in excruciating pain. And it makes me have more empathy for all the millions of people experiencing some kind of pain right now. The Buddhist philosophy, life is suffering, is true. You alleviate the suffering by trying to enjoy it or see some good in it. Marcus Aurelius said that we don't actually have to have an opinion on everything. We could just say it is what it is. And just let it be. Regardless, complaining never helps. Because whatever pain you're going through, there's somebody out there on this planet experiencing something even more painful. If you can imagine it, it's happened to someone somewhere at some time. Heck, there's probably more than a dozen people being tortured right now as we speak. They never thought it could happen to them. Nobody ever thinks they're going to end up in a torture chair. You know, it's funny, when I went to that dentist, that's exactly what it reminded me of, sitting in a torture chair in a basement. No one ever thinks they're going to be tortured, like I said, but everyone thinks they're going to win the lottery. The fact of the matter is you have a very less likely chance of either occurrence happening. As Jack Kerouac says in his famous book, On the Road, nobody knows what's going to happen except for the forlorn rags of growing old. I'm Mr. G. Thank you for listening. Check out my book.